Boa tarde. Vou apresentar aqui.
I'm going to present the next speaker to come on stage and talk about a project which was really nice. It's something to involve people and to participate directly on the projects that are going to affect our lives in general, because laws or bills are passed in the Congress and are approved in the Congress. So Carla is going to talk about this fantastic work that she has been developing. I would like to talk a little bit about what I saw here today. It is a big pleasure for me to be in the middle of an audience, which I would say that almost 100% of the audience and certainly 100% of those who are here on stage have something very special, have a sense of purpose. There's no transformation with a sense of purpose. You need to believe, and the sense of purpose creates in us this urgency, and this urgency makes us mobilize people around us. So what is most important in this discussion of a sense of purpose and what should be deepened in all discussions are the issue of values. We don't usually discuss values because it's discussing values that we're prioritizing and understanding who are with us and who are not going to be able to continue walking with us, because in everything we have losses. In every change, we have losses. In no change, everybody is winning. And all change, someone loses something. And in defining the merits and the purposes, we're going to see who wins and who loses. It is very important to give focus to the discussion and to give focus to this involvement. I loved Feijão's sentence. I think it's the sentence that inspires the most everybody here. Why do you wake up every day and do what you do? I'm going to give one example to illustrate this issue of purpose, focus, and value. Education is famous now. Everybody thinks education is important, but what do we need to improve in education? We need to improve the quality of education. I was conducting a seminar where we focus on people that are in leaderships in the states and municipalities, and we had a meeting with the Secretary of Education to see how we're going to improve education. And there's a word that wasn't mentioned during the whole seminar, the word meritocracy. How we're going to improve quality if we're not discussing meritocracy? It is a fundamental value to improve the quality of education. And when we talk during coffee breaks with some secretaries, there is a resistance around meritocracy. Meritocracy has to do with wild, savage capitalism, the culture of the private sector being imposed into the public sector. Meritocracy is almost a swear word in the world where we have a code of corporate values and defense of corporation. So how are we going to discuss improvement in education if we avoid a word? It is important to understand these values because we're going to understand what fights the secretary is going to have in order to apply meritocracy. A lot of trusts need to be broken, and a lot of fights that you had with your allies in the past that don't share this value. A lot of them will say, are you aggregating to the market laws? And you talk about meritocracy. So when we have an important challenge, like all of you have causes and challenges, we cannot forget how these causes are going to affect the values that are sacred for these people, and how is it going to change what they believe? How is it going to change trust? And so this is what's going to give us resilience. I'm talking about meritocracy in a good way. I went to a school in Rio. It was a public school that had one of the best rates in the state of Rio. And around there were 4 or 5 schools that with really bad rates. So I was going to I talked to the principal, and I told her, tell me something. What do you do with the bad teachers? Because you receive a teacher at your school, you can't fire them, you can't do anything. So how do you have good teachers in your school? And the principal said, I transform their lives in hell. I said, this is really cool because this is meritocracy in practice. I want to see their class plans. I want to know why they're not teaching. I bother them a lot, and then they transfer. So this is meritocracy, applied meritocracy. But while the other secretary is afraid of what that represents inside the corporation, the principal is practicing that, and she makes a difference in these rates. So the story of purpose is really important, and that's what transforms the society. But we need to discuss the values. What values are behind this, and what are the fights we're going to have? Because there's no change without fight. So with this, I call Carla Link from Votenaweb. She has developed an exceptional work, and something very nice is discussing how we can involve people and how we can understand what is being discussed in Congress and how you can participate, how you can vote and influence at least a little bit the choices that are made in the Congress, because these choices are going to rule all of us. Hello guys, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to present Votenaweb. That is a project that was developed and created and administrated by WebCity, a consultancy of digital projects in civical involvement. We're bringing citizens closer to the government and to the private initiative. Votenaweb was a project that was developed 4 years ago, and it really worked. And it is nice to share our discoveries in this laboratory, which is working with politics in Brazil. So I'm going to start asking you a question. Who from you have heard or thought or said this sentence? I don't involve with politics. How many signs we saw in the protests in June saying the politicians and the parties do not represent me? These are some of the sentences that we hear all the time, and in a survey that Data Popular released this year, it showed that only 2% of the young people that already represent more than 30% of the voting people in Brazil, they have hope that the government can make any action that make their life easier. This is very severe. We notice that the biggest problem is that there is a lack of trust on behalf of the young people, because we are distant and we don't believe that the politicians are defending our interests. And this afternoon we saw a lot of examples with Meu Rio and with Change that showed this in practice. But the bad news is our system is developed this way. It was created to have representatives that make choices for us in the National Congress. These are senators and deputies, and every day they choose in our behalf, whether we vote no or we didn't vote, or we voted for a candidate that was not elected. We need to be able to look at this because these decisions impact a lot our life, whether it is the price of tomatoes or the way that Brazil is going to be built from now on. So we believe that our objective is reestablishing the dialogue. We need to bring the parliamentary closer to the citizens so that one understands the behavior of another. Our expectation is that the deputies and the senators fulfill their role as representatives of a group of people and understanding the needs and wishes of all of us on our daily basis. And on the other hand, I don't want to hear people saying that they don't get involved with the politics. We need to understand what is happening and know what's happening in the Congress, being part of it and involving and proposing policies and proposing discussions and participate on this universe that is also ours. So Votenaweb is a bridge between these two universes. We say we're neutral. We are not here to criticize. We're here to bring these two audiences closer, people and politicians. This is Votenaweb. We consider Votenaweb an environment to discuss about citizenship, where we talk about politics through vote. And how do we do this? We simplify language. First of all, we get those really big bills that no one understands, and we simplify them in one sentence. What is it going to impact in the life of people? For example, it does not be allowed anymore the selling of sodas in schools. And then we allow people to vote and discuss about that bill. And then we send reports of these discussions to the politicians, and we show this to people. Here you can see a little bit more detailed the way that we present the bills in a format of cards, where people can see through infographics how the results of the discussions are and the votings are. Very simple and direct and very visual friendly. When you get in the bill, you can see a little bit more about it. You can click on the link of the bill as a whole, and also compare the results of the voting of the citizens and compare it with the votings of the politicians, which I think was amazing, and also be able to rate the bills. So it goes from urgent to crazy. So we have 3 positive adjectives and 3 negative adjectives. This is the report that we send every month to the parliament, and we send newsletters to our bases, as well as change that learns how people are going to respond to the projects. We also send newsletters to show what discussions are being relevant in the period. So for you to have an idea, nowadays we have 2.5 million votes, 85,000 participants, and almost 90,000 comments in the platform. Of course, when we look at Brazil, we know that we are very little, but only knowing that people are taking 5 minutes away from their life and reading about politics and being involved with bills of law, it shows we're in the right way. And we learn with that a lot too, because, for example, people know that differently from other social networks, this is not a space to criticize or to curse anybody. It's a space to be interactive. So the reactions are more positive than negative. They stimulate the bills of law. Almost 60% of the votes are equal between what the citizen wants and what the parliament is voting for, and the comments are very propositional. They are arguments, they are ideas that are discussed among people, making some participants change their minds, actually. This shows us how people understood that this is a space to discuss and talk about politics. Of course, we have some bills that people criticize and criticize strongly, especially names of roads, changes in names of skywalks, and the participants complain, but they're the exception, not the rule. And what we noticed is that the parliament is understanding that, and they see value in these participations. We have received more and more contact from them, and we have made an effort to go to Brasilia more frequently and deliver this report by hand, so that they can see value in our platform. We had 2 interesting cases, which was a politician that asked to insert a video, and another politician asked to send a note to the basis of the participants that vote on a very polemic bill, because he was deciding to file that project, that bill of law. And these are reactions of politicians that are looking at our platform and understanding what the citizen wants. These are events that that make us grow bigger, because we're still small. And for the future, what we expect is growing up to become more and more relevant and be able to change the culture in Brazil, making people participate and the politicians look and see the people's needs.
And especially for next year, which is election year, from the National Congress, which is where we are active, we are sure that we can have a positive impact on the elections, showing people what their candidates have been doing for the last 4 years. Not only their campaign promises, but their initiatives during this period of time. So I ask you for your help to participate, vote, and share Vote so we can enlarge and so we can help elections next year. Thank you very much.